check it.
It's waiting for you.
Will you see if there's a different stream?
Just says waiting for you. Like it shows up and it says live. This one says started 57 seconds ago.
Is it there another one?
It must be. It just has. I'm crying just kidding.
Hey guys, sorry, I've got a little bit of a technical difficulty, like always. Let's see if I can get this thing to work. Yeah, wouldn't be one of my live streams if everything just went to plan, would it? So I had the whole thing prepped and set up like it was supposed to be, and of course it didn't work the well I wanted it to. So hey, Huntsman, Zach, Brian, appreciate you guys checking in. Zach said we can hear you and see you, I just can't see you, it says. Okay, let me see.
I see you.
Oh, okay, there I am. Okay, good. Okay, you guys know I suck at this whole live streaming thing, so we're just gonna do the best we can and fumble through the rest. So I'm still playing around with this computer here, try to get everything squared away. So very simple. The live stream is pretty simple. It's in the title. You can't prep for everyone. And can you say no? That's going to be the big issue when everything goes down. Those of us that prep, unfortunately, because we're proud of our preps, a lot of us have a tendency to tell other people. And that's going to be a big issue. But before we get into this, let's hit the intro. Okay, so yeah, Huntsman says good to get the technical difficulties out of the way early. I'm not a pro like you, man. I'm not good at this stuff. So if the internet holds up tonight, I'll just be happy with that. So but yeah, so my buddy Kyle's in the house tonight, so I'd like to, go ahead and get that stuff out of the way first. I appreciate you guys watching. And Hype with Mike, so I appreciate you being here. If you guys haven't checked those channels out, let's go ahead. Hype with Mike, The Huntsman, Zach's Random Projects. If you haven't already, go check those channels out. So, So let's just get into it real quick. So like the title says, you can't prep for everyone. Now the issue is going to be, like I said, we have an issue because we are proud of our preps and we're proud of what we're doing. We have a tendency to kind of boast about it. We got to quit boasting. You got to quit telling everybody all the stuff you have. And that's, because how many times have you heard, or have you heard other people say, oh, well, we know where we're coming if the crap hits the fan. But we can't prep for everybody. So they say minimum, or prepper community says minimum that we should be prepped for 3 months or so at minimum. So let's just say for me and Sarah, so a 2-person household. I looked it up. The numbers they say are the average American eats. Now, they say that we should eat a 2,000 calorie diet, right? But the average American, they say, eats about 3,500 calories a day. I'm pretty sure I probably tipped the scales on that, but that's what they say. The average American eats about 3,500 calories a day. But let's just go off of a 2,000 calorie diet, okay? So if you're rationing your food, let's say you're cutting down and you're only eating a couple of meals a day, and let's just drop it down to 1,500 calories a day. If you're eating 1,500 calories a day per person, so that's for 90 days, for 3 months. Let's just say we're prepped for a minimum of 3 months. So for a 2-person household, that's still 270,000 calories that you have to store up. You have to stock up 270,000 calories. And to just make things simple, let's just go ahead and start with what the everybody always says that they're stocking, right? Beans and rice. That's what everybody says, beans and rice. So a pound, 1 pound of cooked rice, 1 pound of cooked rice only yields about 590 calories. A pound of cooked lima beans, I went with lima beans because they're my favorite beans. I'm not really big on red beans and black beans. I do like black beans though. So a pound of lima beans cooked with with water. So that's 513 calories for a pound of lima beans. Well, if you calculate that up, so you need 270,000 calories for 2 people for 3 months. 270,000 calories for 2 people for 3 months. I'm trying to make sure I get all this right. That means that for 2 people, you would need 228 pounds of rice on hand and 263 pounds of beans. That's just beans and rice. So, and that's for 3 months. So let's say for a 2-person household, you are prepped up for 3 months, right? Somebody comes to the door and they say, hey, I know you've got preps. I'm hungry. I don't have any food. I need to hang out with you guys and eat. Now your 3 months just dropped to 2 months. You're only prepped for 2 months now because you took on this other person. Now part of what's going to be the problem is as soon as you say no, people are going to think you're a butthole. You're hard-hearted. You don't want to help people. You don't care for your fellow man. But when it all comes down, and if it all hits the fan and you're having to live off of those preps, can you afford to help out that fellow man? Now, that's going to be a tough issue. That's going to be something that you are going to have to struggle with and kind of iron that out yourself. We can do things to supplement. We can hunt, we can garden. But what I'm talking about right now is just our preps, just the things that we have set aside. And so I posted a poll up on our Facebook, on the YouTube, and I asked that those of you who are prepping, who are you prepping for, and how many are you prepping for, and where do you draw the line? So 21% said the household only. 7% said a household plus minor children outside the home. So that meaning like my minor children who live with their mom. 21% said a household plus adult children. And then 50% said that they are prepping for their household plus elderly parents or family members. And that's kind of how what we were doing when Pop was here. You know, all our preps kind of included Pop. And so those are the plans that you're going to have to can you turn that air conditioner off? Thank you. I forgot to turn the air conditioner off. So you're going to have to kind of plan that ahead and know who you're going to say yes to and who, you know, and draw that line and say, okay, these are the ones that I've prepped for, and everyone else should have prepped for themselves. And so let's see what we got down here. So Hyper Mike said, same things about places you hike and camp at. So I stopped saying I can't talk tonight. I stopped saying where I am located. Don't want too many crowds of people coming to it to ruin it. The same concept, yeah. So, and that's the case. You know, there's a lot of places that I go. I don't necessarily want to point out for sure. Okay, this is where I'm at. Because I know how people are. You get people in there, and you know, people come in, and first thing they do is leave garbage, destroy things, and they just ruin it for everybody. So, yeah, it definitely makes it hard to. You don't want to share that information. Whiskey and Diet Dr. Pepper. So. I had some notes here I'm going to look through. I wanted to kind of be prepared tonight. Let's see if I have... I just wanted you guys to think that I was prepared. I did prep some stuff to think about. So, like I said, you know, we all know that prepping is expensive. It's time consuming. It takes up a lot of space, you know, and so you don't want to be doing all that for yourself, for your family, only to have someone come in and take it over, because as soon as you give someone something and you say, okay, I'll let you come in and eat, you can come in and stay, or just you can come in and eat. The problem with that is if they come in and eat, when they leave, they're going to tell somebody, yeah, Sean and them are prepped over there, and I got some food for them, from them. And guess what? Here comes another group of people to get your food. So we got to quit boasting. We got to quit telling people about all our preps. Outdoors with Rich is in the house. Hey, Rich. I haven't got a chance to watch that new video. I want to watch that tonight. And I said, you know, it sounds hard-hearted to tell people no, that you're not going to allow them to come in and eat. That's something that would be very, very hard to say. But we're going to have to do that. At some point, you're going to have to draw the line, because if not, you're going to get completely overrun by people, and it's not feasible for us to prep for a ton of other people. Now, my buddy Zach here jokingly said today on this thing that he's sure that he could come and come to the house and, you know, I'd share some of my preps with him. That would be a tough one for me, because that's my best friend in the world. Could I actually tell him, no, I'm not prepped for you? It would be a hard decision for me to turn him away and say, no, I don't have the food for you. That's something that I would have to like deal with that in that time. I can't say right now that I would turn him away. Even though that goes against what I'm telling you guys, and that's what I mean. It's going to be very, very hard to do that. You know, elderly neighbors, that's another one. I'm not prepping for elderly neighbors, but I know they're around here. And if an elderly gentleman or lady came to my house and said, hey, we're hungry, can I turn them away? I don't know. Should I turn them away? In the long run, yes. Because it's not my responsibility to prep for them. Everyone should be prepping for themselves, but that's going to be a very, very tough decision. Even if Zach brings the beer, that's what he said today, he'll bring the beer. Unfortunately, the beer is not going to help me because I can't drink beer because I get the gout. If you brought the whiskey, however, it might be hard to turn you away. Brian said, excellent work, Rich. I'm really looking forward to watching that video. So I'm going to have to jump off of this live stream and go check that thing out here in a little while. So like I said, you have to have a predetermined group of people that you're prepping for. Or you have to know that the people that you're bringing in are going to be able to provide for themselves and you in some way. So if you're sharing, let's say somebody comes in and they're hungry, they don't have anything to eat. You give them food, but you know that they are good at gardening or they are good at hunting and procure meat. Maybe you could bring them in to help you supplement your food stores and trade those calories out. Maybe you're trading calories out right now for new calories and new types of food coming in the future. That's another one that's going to be, you know, you kind of have to play that by ear. Let's see, what else do I got here? But, so like I said, you know, you can't prep for everybody, but that's not saying that you can't help other people. But if you're going to help other people, you need to be helping them now. So maybe you don't tell them about, oh, I've got 50 pounds of this, and I've got 100 pounds of that, and I've got, you know, 6 months worth of, you know, dry goods. And you know, maybe you don't tell them about that stuff, but you help them start helping themselves. You tell them, hey, this is how I got started. This is where I get my Mylar bags. This is how you can. If you can, that's something that you could really help other people with if you just teach them how to do it. I got a dog scratching. So, you know, that's something that I don't know how to do, is canning, and something I would really love to learn how to do, but I don't know how to do it. So, one of these days, that's something that I'll get into. Let's see, Brian said that he's had a bad feeling that by the time elderly couple comes, you may be having to share freedom seeds. It's a tough thing to think about, but at some point we may be forced to that, Brian. We might be I don't know. That's a tough thing. That's a whole nother subject to breach. So I looked up some, you know, quote. Yeah, I was trying to think about, you know, when you're telling people or teaching people how to prep, and I was looking up like knowledge is power, and you know, because that's something that I always think. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is super important. And I read this quote, and I thought it was pretty pretty fitting. It says, with knowledge and or education, one's potential or ability to succeed in the pursuits of one's objectives will certainly increase. So a great way to help is to pass on your knowledge, experience, tips, tricks, help others to help themselves. So, let's see, Richard DeVore, I hope I'm saying your name right, man, I'm sorry. Bartering occurred in tough times in the past. Bartering food items for assistance with garden plots, canning foods for long-term hunting for game assist. That's exactly right. So, when it gets down to that, the bartering system would definitely come back in. But you're going to end up with those people that don't have skills. That's going to be the problem. The people who come in and don't know how to garden. They don't know how to can food. They're just looking, for lack of a better word, they're looking for a handout. And we can't afford to just pass out our food like this is a welfare system. And at some point you're going to have to know, you're going to have to see, and you're going to have to draw a line and say, enough's enough if I keep giving this away. So I take, we got 3 months supply. I take in another person, now we got 2 months supply. I take in a fourth person, now we've only got a month apiece. So that calculation doesn't sound right. I don't know.
It's less.
It's less. I don't know why that calculation just doesn't add up in my head. I almost feel like I need a calculator for that one. I need a drink is what it is. So, anyway, you get what I'm saying. The more people that you allow to come in that you're not prepped for cuts your food down, by that person. And another problem is going to be it's going to start animosity within your household, because if somebody else comes in that's not part of your household and you're allowing them to eat and all that, they're going to start feeling like maybe you are getting more of the food. It's your food. And if you want more of the food, it's your food. But that would become a problem. So all of these things are going to be something that you're going to have to prepare for lack of a better word. You're going to have to know where to draw that line. Let's see, Brian said, we are a society of completely helpless people. Skills are what's going to be the most important bartering within that first, start that time frame when people start to get hungry, because that's going to be the main thing is hunting, fishing, gardening, those things right there. You're going to have to be able to do that. And maybe you bring somebody in that's young that you can teach, possibly. If another set of hands coming in to help work the animals could help, then that might be something that they could barter just manual labor. That's going to be very tough. So, again, that's something that you'd have to play by ear. Kyle said, bartering can be extremely risky if you don't know and trust the person. That's 100% true. Now, I always hear people say that, oh yeah, buy 22 bullets because you could, barter those out, or buy ammunition because you could barter those out. A couple things. If you're bartering out ammunition, that means that you are arming someone else that could potentially come back and take your life or rob you. And if you're going to do that stuff, you would have to do it at a secondary location that's not on your property. And if you do that, that means you are away from all your preps, you're away from all your zone of safety here. So you're giving someone else ammunition, and now you have to travel from there back home. So it could be very, very risky. Bartering ammunition, bartering anything could be very risky. That's one of those things that you're going to have to, you'll just have to take it at that time and just see how you feel about it. But that's a very dangerous thing too. So Zach said, any advice on what types of storage containers to store large amounts of rice and beans? Something sealed from pests. So they have like the food grade 5-gallon buckets, are very good. You can use the food grade 5-gallon buckets, and in that food grade 5-gallon bucket you can do the Mylar bags with the oxygen absorbers in them. And if you do that, you know, it makes your grain, stuff like that, last longer. Now, I've seen people say a couple of different things. So, like rice, pastas, beans, and stuff like that. A lot of people say that those will have, you know, like weevils and things like that in them, and that you should freeze your rice and stuff prior to bagging them. But I've also seen the other hand of that, where people say that freezing the rice and stuff introduces moisture to it and will make your rice and things go bad in the long run. Now, I can't tell you 100% which one of those is true, because we've never had an issue with either of those things. But it's possible, you know, the weevils, I can see that. I could actually, I haven't seen it with like our food, but I have seen weevils and stuff in bags of corn and animal feed. And so I could actually see that happening in our own food too, you know. So that's something that would be, I mean, you're just going to have to take your chances with that. If somebody else has a good answer for that, we'll shout it out. So Aaron said, I've always liked the quote, the more you sweat in times of peace, the less you bleed in times of war. Yeah, I would completely agree with that. That's a good quote. So you do the work now, do the hard work now, and then in the long run, when things get hard, you'll already have the stuff you need. And that's a good point, Aaron. That's very good. So the other thing that I was thinking that I would like to do as far as like storage for our foodstuffs and things like that, I've started looking for those. Do you guys remember those, like the metal cabinets like they used to have in mechanic shops and stuff? The big metal doors on them. I thought about getting some of those and using those to store some dry goods and stuff like that in. So we've got the Mylar bags and all that stuff, but I think for maybe a larger storage for pest-proof stuff, might not be a bad idea to have some of those big storage cabinets, you know, the metal mechanic storage cabinets. So Hype Mike says, speaking of weasels, some might have to resort to eating insects for food, such as crickets and grubs. Hey man, I wouldn't be opposed to that. There's a lot of places around the world that eat those things already, and I mean, they've actually said that at some point in the future, those things are going to be the major source of our protein at some point. So I don't know. Brian said you can't kill parasites with cold; it just slows them down. As far as the moisture goes, it does make sense. Just seal your stuff up and put it back for the next month. Yeah, he said we're damn close to needing it. Yeah, like a flammable liquids locker. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I did look them up. They're like freaking $300, $400 for a cabinet. So again, it comes down to, you know, prepping, and you know, this stuff is expensive, man. Like I was looking, like the food grade 5-gallon buckets, a 3-pack of food grade 5-gallon buckets with the screw-on lids It's like $60 for a 3-pack of those 5-gallon buckets. You can probably get by with the buckets from Lowe's, but the food grade buckets are a lot thicker, and so if you did have a pest problem, it might be a little bit of an issue. Now, I apologize for that. My sinuses have been draining all afternoon. I apologize for that, but let's see what Kyle says. Kyle said the bugs will not hatch with the oxygen absorbed. Seal bags good with flat iron, and bucket to prevent rodents from chewing through the mylar. Right. So that's, you know, and here's the thing that we have got planned. So we did the 1-gallon mylar bags, and the reason we did that was because, you know, you can get the big bags, but once you do that, let's say you put a whole 5-gallon bucket full of rice in there, once you open it up, it's opened. So if you do the individual one, you know, it's more money. Yes, it's more money, but if you do the individual 1-pound bags, then you can open it a pound at a time, and everything else is still sealed. So, I mean, that's definitely, in my opinion, for dry storage for, you know, your staple stuff, I would suggest to put it in smaller bags. And in my opinion, it's just easier for you to break it down and use it without having to open up a ton and use it all at one time. So Tom Ritter is in the house. So Tom says, look at the hackery section in a store. Bakery section. That's what he was saying. Look at the bakery section in a store. They have them, and in a donut shop. Did I miss something? What are we talking about there, Tom? I don't know. Maybe I missed something. But anyway, but the whole idea for this live stream was you can't prep for everyone. So, Zach says they're vacuum sealed buckets. I think the main thing is that you can vacuum seal the bags and put them in those buckets. Now, there probably is vacuum sealed food grade buckets. That's what Tom was talking about. Okay. I'm sorry, man. I'm trying to work everything out at one time. But I think what everybody does basically is vacuum seal their bags and put them in the food grade buckets. There may be vacuum sealable food grade buckets. I'm not sure. Let's see. Tom said he's just answering me as I talk. I apologize, man. I'm kind of rambling right now. I'm trying to get everything together in my head, but I just wanted to basically talk about that tonight and, you know, kind of get everybody's minds working on that, because with everything that we've got going overseas and everything that's going on over in Russia and Ukraine right now, and, you know, it could easily turn out to be a bigger mess than we're thinking of. You know, I don't want to say the D word, but it could happen, you know. It could turn into another depression if this does turn into another world war. And if that happens, there's going to be a lot of people that are in a lot of trouble because they haven't prepped up. Because people, see, that's a lot of people don't realize. Back during the Depression, people had it really hard. It was really, really hard, and those people were already prepping. I mean, they weren't prepping, but they weren't calling it prepping. They were just living. But those people were prepping. Those people knew how to garden. Those people knew how to butcher and kill their own chickens and raise their own animals and things like that. And the majority of our people now don't know how to do that stuff. They don't do that stuff. Most people only have 1 or 2 days worth of food in their house. We're such a society to run to the store and get it today and come home. But, you know, what are you going to do when there's bread lines out there and there's soup lines out there because there's nothing on the shelves? So, I mean, Sarah, you know, we're talking about food and stuff like that. Sarah came home the other day and said that a pack of hot dogs was over $6. Just think about that. I mean, just the inflation, the price of things going up, and it's getting already astronomical. It's getting crazy, and it's only going to get worse from here for a good while, from what I see anyway. Let's see. So Rich said, what time frame do you prep for? Right now, I'm shooting for just the minimum. Prepping for 3 months is what we're shooting for right now. But, you know, a lot of people are saying that you should prep for a year. So let's just take that from what I said. So if we went 1,500 calories a day, I am going to have to get the calculator out for this. So 1,500 calories a day. Goodness gracious, I don't even know if I can figure this out. 1,500 times 365 days. So that's 534 calories, 534,000 calories a year for one person. That's, I'm not even going to try to calculate that up in the beans and rice. I didn't do very good earlier with that. But, I mean, when you think about that, that's, I mean, for Sarah and I, that'd be over 1 million calories for a year, right? That don't sound right either. Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, don't take these numbers to heart. Do your own research. But I'm just trying to go through it real quick. Let's see. Tom says he preps for natural disasters. That's definitely, that's, you know, a good start. You know, that, well, they say that we should prep for a week or 2 weeks. That's, you know, what is it? FEMA says 2 weeks. Which, prepping for 2 weeks, that's fine. That's a good start. But the problem is most people prep for that hurricane the week before the hurricane. That's why you get the run on the stores. You get all this stuff, you know. And then people eat all their stuff before the hurricane ever gets to them. So that's the problem with prepping for natural disasters, is most people do the rush on the stores and they go prep all that stuff right now, and then by the time another storm comes, they don't have those preps anymore. They got to run back out and do it. So we're talking about like the long-term prepping, and prep things that you're going to eat, because most of the stuff, your canned foods, they need to be rotated stock. So you need to be buying stuff, like if you eat a lot of let's say canned corn. Corn is freaking gross. I hate corn. But let's just say you're using canned corn for whatever sadistic, crazy reason you would be using it for. But, what's that?
And you eat nasty stuff.
I eat a lot of nasty stuff, and I'm not eating this stinking corn, but let's say you do eat corn. That corn should be should be in a rotating stock. So the oldest corn should be at the front, and the new stuff you buy needs to go in the back. So it all rotates out the oldest stuff. But yeah, be buying stuff that you're going to eat. If you don't eat beans and rice, if you don't like beans and rice, don't prep beans and rice. Don't stock beans and rice, because there's no sense in having freaking 230 pounds of rice here if you hate rice. It just doesn't make any sense. So those things, you're going to have to make sure that you're prepping the things that you want to eat. And you got to learn the correct way to store those particular preps. So, let's see. Tom says he does 3 weeks. He said that needs to be put up too. Yeah, you just need to get it and put it away. Mike said, besides, folks won't be able to get medicines to stay alive in crisis, like insulins, meds, etc. That's another thing that's very scary, because a lot of that stuff you can only get 30 days, 60-day supply. Some things you could get like a 90-day supply. If I'm not mistaken, Pop used to get like a 90-day supply of insulin and stuff like that.
It's pretty typical, especially for insurance to pay.
Okay, so 90 days is pretty typical. So for for 3 months you should be able to prep the 90-day supply, but I guess when you're talking about that, though, that's the current 90 days. It's not like you can say, okay, I need 90 days set aside. That's 90 days being used. What if you're at 50 days when the crap hits the fan? Now all of a sudden you've only got 40 days of prep for medicines left. So that's kind of a scary slope, a scary thing to think about there too. So let's see, Brian, you said something that, boy, you fired YouTube up here. See what they said. I see what it is. So Brian said that Canada should scare the shit out of everyone. So apparently YouTube didn't like you using the word shit. I had to approve it. Yeah, so he said they unmasked all the way. Not just Canada itself. When you think about it, the whole thing with oh man, I just completely lost it. What's the where people were sending them money? I can't remember what it's called now. The GoFundMe account. That's what I'm praying for. So everybody donated to that GoFundMe account. They said, nope, cut all that stuff off. It was just like that. It all went away. And that's the scary thing about them wanting us to go to all digital money. If we go to all digital money, it can be there one day and they can go, boop, it's gone. And that's just, it's a bad deal. But do you prep gold and silver? Now, that's another huge debate in the prepper community. Do you prep gold and silver? There's a lot of people who say, yeah, you should absolutely be prepping gold and silver, because that's going to be the things that's always going to carry a monetary value. But then there's the other flip side of that, people that say, well, you're not going to be able to go in there and use a gold nugget or a gold coin to buy things and stuff like that. I don't know. I guess that's something that we would have to find out, but I would much rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
It'll probably get to where you don't even use the currency in that sense. It'll be bartering.
Yeah, that eventually that's what it would end up being, a barter type situation. And in that point, you might actually be bartering things that you don't want to get rid of. You know, I mean, when it comes down to it, you might have to barter out some of that ammunition if you're going to, say, a local, whatever it is, turns into a local farmer's market kind of thing, and they've got, you know, somebody's got a live chicken there for sale, and they want 22 rounds for the chicken. You know, who knows? You might have to be going back to that. So, yeah, that's what that's what I was talking about. So Brian said, 1,500 calories is barely living. And that's what I was talking about. It's, you know, that's rationing it down to, you know, the bare minimum. Like I said, the numbers now, they say that the average American is like 3,500 calories. But our diets are based on a 2,000 calorie diet. So even if we went below that 2,000 calories, I mean, you see the numbers, or what I consider the numbers. You see that it's really just the idea of how much it would take to just keep yourself alive for 3 months. And that's just for your household. that doesn't include bringing other people in there. But, like, how do you tell somebody else no, though? I mean, that's something that we're all going to struggle with. But am I going to let somebody from down the street come to my house and eat my food that's going to be taking food out of my wife's mouth? And I'm saying, okay, now we've only got 2 months, and I'm probably not going to do that. And if that makes me hard-hearted, that makes me hard-hearted. But at the end of the day, we prepped for this. So somebody else that didn't prep for that, it's really, as bad as it sounds, it's not your responsibility. Now, I know that we're supposed to take care of our fellow man. I know that, and that's something that I struggle with. But the Bible says that if a man don't work, he shouldn't eat. And in that respect, I'm looking at it from a fact of the prepping. Doing all the prepping ahead of time is putting in the work. If that man doesn't put in the work, he's not going to eat. So that's just something I think about. So, let's see. Tom says, let me see if I can figure out how to do this without messing everything up again. I let my chat get away from me, and I didn't realize it. Let's see. Goodness, you guys are really getting it. So I'm gonna back up the chat a little bit. So Tom said, prep for your preps, meaning make sure that your wife and kids know how to use and prepare everything. Yes. And that's something that Sarah and I are doing. You know, we are doing it together, and it's not just one-sided. She gets things, and I get things, and you know, we see a hole, and we try to buy the things that need to be bought to fill that hole. So, like Mike said, corn cobs could be used for survival toilet paper. I have heard that. I've heard the wiping your butt with a corn cob. I cannot get that image in my head to understand how that would actually work, and I don't want to try it to test it out. I hate corn enough as it is, and I don't want to try that to see if that actually works. I would rather scoot around on the grass out there like a dog. Let's see, Patriot food bag, 72 hours. Yeah, I've seen some of those big totes of food and stuff like that. But I've also seen a lot of those things that they say are terrible when they've done some testing on them. So I would say if you're going to buy something like the big tote that's already full of food, I'd say at least open that thing, take something out, and cook it, and see if you're actually going to be able to eat it, because it would be a hell of a thing to get into the middle of this thing and open that thing up and realize that it's all like disgusting and unedible stuff. So if you're going to do that kind of stuff, you need to make sure that it's something that you're going to be able to use. And he said in his experience, don't stock MREs. There's like 2 different MREs that I like, and the rest of them I think are pretty nasty, so I'd have to agree with that. And Zach said, food or meds have an expiration date like food. That's right. So you got to be very careful stocking up on stuff like that, because if it does go bad, it's not doing you any good. Yeah, so Brian said, check your change. You'd have, be shocked how much silver. So in the last couple weeks, I've actually noticed from 2 different fast food restaurants, I've gotten pre-1965 nickels, and those are like what, 90% silver. So that's a big one right there. You just got to kind of keep your eye out for it, and every time somebody gives you some change, look at it, save that thing. As Zach said, lead sinkers for fishing can be melted down. You can do that. You can melt those down. You also the tops of old car batteries, that kind of stuff can be melted down. The lead actual battery terminals, that's another thing to think about. Let's see. Tom said split shots, BBs, and cheat will do the job. Let's see. Tom says learn your plants and meds won't be needed. So that's another one that, this is a pretty good one right here, I like. And it's the Backyard Medicine book. And that one's pretty good. Now, I have gone through here and looked at a lot of different things. One of the big ones that I would suggest looking up right now, get familiar with mullein. It's like the great mullein plant. We have them all up and down the sides of the road, and I did some research on it. And all the mullins can be used the same way. There's great mullein, there's twiggy mullein, there's different kind of mullins, but they can all be used as a tea. You can actually dry them and smoke them, and they're an expectorant for your lungs. So if you have a lung problem, asthma attacks, it helps with asthma attacks. Just things with your lungs. It's a lung tea is what a lot of people consider it, a lung tea. So definitely learn your medicine, your herbal medicines and stuff like that. It's worth it. I mean, I know it sounds hippie-ish. A lot of people think it sounds hippie-ish, but I would rather have somebody tell me, oh yeah, that sounds pretty hippie-ish, and then when it all boils down, I'm the one still alive because I've got the book over there that tells me what I can and can't use for medicine. Let's see. So Mike says the nickels were only silver from 42 to 45.
Tom asked if I can shoot. Yes.
Yes, Sarah can shoot. Probably better than me. She's got her own pistol. She's got her own shotgun, so she can shoot. So, and you guys know I've got the pellet rifle. It's actually down here. I've got it sitting in here instead of in the house because the freaking possum kept killing the chickens out here. That's why I had to keep it over here in case I snuck up on him when I was getting eggs and stuff. But oh, River Kings is in the house. Pete is in the house. Appreciate you joining us. So I'm gonna have to look into that. So Mike said nickels were only silver from 42 to 45. I've never heard that. So I'll definitely look into that because those nickels I have might not be worth a crap. I thought they were definitely silver. I looked into it, but I could be completely wrong about that. No, I mean, quarters are, pre-1965 too, but quarters you need to look for that copper, all of you quarters, when you look around the edge of that quarter, if it's got that copper look to it, it's a clad quarter. So Zach said she's a keeper. She's definitely a keeper. Pine needle tea. So that's another thing, pine needle tea, I think they say that pine needle tea actually has more vitamin C in it than orange juice. So that's something that's definitely, I could be wrong about that. I've read that somewhere. Pete said, yeah, he's got real internet now. Hey, man, I've got the worst internet here, and I know this is probably choppy. I don't know how it's coming out. Normally it looks pretty choppy, but I'm hoping it's doing pretty good. I think here lately our internet's doing a little bit better. So, matter of fact, I just got a warning that said the video resolution is low. Let's see. If you guys don't watch River Kings, you guys need to watch. If you like kayaking and stuff like that, you need to check out Pete's channel. There's one video. I mean, I love the videos, but there's one video in particular where he made it like a video game, and all of his little things that they were doing, they were racking up points, and it was like ding, 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 ding. It was such a cool video, and the editing was spot on. It was perfect. So you guys need to check his channel out. Oh, you got the Starlink. Oh, we know who Big Dog is now. Let's see, where we got? Let's see, Zach says he watched videos today of a guy that hunts hogs with a pellet gun. Yes, so there's a place in Gainesville here. I can't remember what the name of it is right now, but it's over by the LKQ here in Gainesville. And that guy has some 50 caliber pellet rifles in there. And I went in to look at them, and he'll take you right out back and let you shoot it. And he had two 2x6s set up and a steel plate behind it. And I shot that 50 caliber pellet rifle, you know, it's an air charged pellet rifle, 50 caliber, through two 2x6s and flattened that thing out on that steel plate behind it. It was pretty freaking amazing. And I mean, they're expensive. They're super expensive, but it's pretty amazing what you can do with a pellet rifle now. I actually had a guy the other day comment on my pellet rifle for a survival video. He's like, I've only watched 1:35, but I bet he talks about Lewis and Clark in it. Which, like, why wouldn't you talk about Lewis and Clark? They actually used one of the first pellet rifles, the air-powered pellet rifle, or air rifle. I guess it wasn't a pellet rifle. The very first air rifle in the Lewis and Clark expedition. So it's historic. They're, you know, so it's pretty relevant, I would say. Let's see. Yeah, Tom said they do require a way to charge them. Now that guy was saying that he has the tanks, like almost like a scuba diver tank, that you can charge the air rifle. I think 20 times or something with it. Or he had a little air compressor that would actually, you could hook it in your cigarette lighter in your truck and charge the thing up that way. So you're not going to sit there and pump it up like a regular, you know, just a Daisy air rifle. But I mean, I think he said that you could actually shoot the thing like 15 times or 20 times or something on a charge too. They had some crazy, I mean, it was a pretty neat thing. It wasn't lawful defense, Zach. It was like right up the street from that on the same side. It says something like outdoors, something on, that's what caught my eye. But it says something outdoors on the side of it. So very, very cool little place there. But yeah, so Pete says cool about Lewis and Clark. Yeah, I mean, when you look into the air rifle they had, it was crazy looking. And they had like this little pump thing that pumped it. I didn't even know they had that kind of technology back then. But it was pretty amazing. Let's see, I know you guys are rolling on the chat. I'm having a hard time keeping up with you tonight. Yeah, so talking about the pellet rifle. So because Lewis and Clark used the pellet rifle, it's considered a primitive weapon. So even that pellet rifle, now in the state of Florida, I don't know other places, but in the state of Florida, even if you're a felon, you can go right down there and buy that pellet rifle and walk back out with it because it's not considered a firearm. And that's just, I'm not telling you that felons should be going down there to buy it. I'm just saying that that's a little interesting tidbit. So
It's an interesting fact.
it's an interesting fact. Let's see. Yeah, you guys are rolling in the chat, and I appreciate you guys all hanging out with me. Yeah, so my air rifle is the break barrel air rifle. You break it one time, it charges the chamber inside, and then you put the pellet in, you shoot it one time. It's not like a pump-up rifle. And mine shoots 1,200 feet per second, I think. So I can't remember exactly what that 50 caliber was. It wasn't. It might have been that fast, but I think it was like 1,000 feet per second. But the amount of knockdown power that thing has to shoot through 2 2x6s and then flatten that lead out on that steel plate. They got pictures of those guys hunting bear with those things, and I don't know that I'm man enough to decide I'm going to shoot a bear with an air rifle. I don't know. That'd be a tough call for me. So Tom said, and black powder's the same way. You don't need to register it. So, or in PA. So, let's see. I'm trying to think if I missed anything else. I think I pretty much caught up on everything. So, I know I kind of got on a tangent and got off of the main point tonight, but I think you guys got my point. You can't prep for everyone, and we need to be planning to be able to say no, and know when and who we're going to be prepping for, and who we're going to be allowing to come in, and just know that that's going to be a decision we're all going to have to make at some point if you're prepping. So it's better to be the guy that's turning people away than be the guy that's knocking on the door asking for food. So we should all be prepping up. In the face of what's going on right now, the uncertainties in the world, we should all be getting prepared. I mean, you just look at the price of gas right now. Look at the price of gas in probably a week or 2 weeks. It's going to be different. It's, all that stuff is based on speculation, so it's going to go through the roof, I'm sure. So Rick said crossbows are a great weapon. Long distance versus vertical bows and stealthy. I've always wanted a crossbow. I can't shoot a regular bow to save my life. I'm Native American, and I should be ashamed of that. And, I feel like we should all just know how to shoot a bow instinctively. And I couldn't, if I was standing in this room shooting a bow, I got a 50-50 chance of hitting one of these walls. It probably wouldn't be very good. So, Ryan, I appreciate you hanging out for a while tonight. I know I've gone kind of long. I'm about an hour, I think, now. So, I'm going to go ahead and cut us off, I think. I think we covered everything. I appreciate you guys all sticking here with me and chatting for a while. And we kind of got a lot of things talked about. And I appreciate you guys, sticking in the chats. And had a really good time in the chats tonight. So, if you haven't already, share this channel with your friends. And if you didn't, hit that like button on your way out. I appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you next time.